The massive alien ship appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system on a quiet Tuesday morning in 2157. It moved through space with the grace of a whale swimming through deep waters, its silver hull gleaming under the distant sunlight. The vessel was impressive, nearly 4 miles long and covered in intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with energy. But what made Admiral James Porter smile wasn't the ship's size or its exotic design. It was its speed, or rather, its lack of it. 3 months from the nearest jump point, he muttered, studying the data on his tablet while standing in Earth Defense Command's main control room. They really thought that would impress us. The alien ship, representing the Galactic Council, had sent its first message ahead of its arrival. They had bragged about crossing vast distances to reach Earth, expecting amazement from the primitive humans they were about to meet. Around Porter, the control room hummed with activity. Operators monitored screens showing the alien vessel's slow approach, while military satellites tracked its every move. None of the humans seemed particularly concerned about the arrival of their first alien visitors. "Should we send the welcome party, sir?" asked Lieutenant Rogers, Porter's aide. Porter nodded, a slight smirk playing on his face. "Send the Hummingbird. Let's give them a proper Earth greeting." The HSS Hummingbird, one of Earth's smaller diplomatic vessels, departed from its lunar dock. Unlike the lumbering alien ship, it moved with incredible speed, crossing the same distance the aliens had taken days to travel in just minutes. The alien vessel's response was immediate and amusing. Their communication showed clear confusion and disbelief at the human ship's velocity. They demanded to know how such a small ship could move so quickly. Porter had instructed Captain Miller of the Hummingbird to play it cool. Just standard human propulsion was the only explanation offered to the bewildered aliens. When Representative Gray, the Council's ambassador, finally arrived at Earth's orbital station, their confusion had only grown. The alien dignitary was tall and elegant, with silvery skin that rippled like mercury, but their superior attitude had been somewhat dampened by what they'd witnessed. "Your vessel's speed," Gray said during the first official meeting, their translator converting their musical language into English. "We have never seen anything like it. Are you using some form of advanced jump drive?" Porter maintained a perfectly diplomatic expression. "No, just efficient engineering. We find it's best to keep things simple and practical." Gray's large, opal-colored eyes blinked rapidly. "But our sensors indicate your ships don't even use quantum field manipulation or gravitational distortion matrices. How can they possibly achieve such velocities?" "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Porter replied vaguely, enjoying the aliens' growing frustration. "Now, shall we discuss Earth's potential membership in your Galactic Council?" The meeting proceeded, with Gray explaining the benefits of joining their interstellar alliance. They spoke of shared knowledge, trade opportunities, and mutual defense agreements. All the while, their eyes kept darting to the windows where Earth ships zipped past at speeds their own vessels couldn't hope to match. "We will need to evaluate your civilization's development level," Gray announced near the end of the meeting. "Standard procedure for all new member worlds. I trust you understand." "Of course," Porter agreed readily. "We'll be happy to demonstrate our capabilities." After the meeting, Porter stood at the window of his office, watching the Council ship hanging motionless against the star-filled background. Humanity had kept their true technological capabilities quiet for decades, focusing on practical advancements rather than showy displays of power. Their ships might look plain, but they could outrun anything in known space. "Send a message to command," he told his aide. "Tell them Operation Tortoise and Hare is proceeding as planned." The Council took the bait. "They think we're newcomers to the space race." As he spoke, another human ship streaked past his window, disappearing into the darkness faster than the eye could follow. The real show hadn't even begun. Dr. Webb had seen many alien technologies in his 30 years as a Council evaluator, but Earth's ships puzzled him. They were too simple, far too simple to be as fast as they were. He stood in the observation deck of Earth's main shipyard, watching workers assemble what the humans called a standard cargo runner. The ship was small, barely a quarter-mile long, with none of the quantum stabilizers or gravity wells that every other advanced civilization used. "Your engines," Webb said to Chief Engineer Roberts, who was giving him the tour. "They appear to be basic fusion drives." Roberts nodded, his weathered face showing no emotion. "Yep, nothing fancy about them. Just good old-fashioned human engineering." Webb's tentacles twitched with frustration. As the Council's lead technology evaluator, he was supposed to categorize Earth's development level. But nothing made sense. The ships looked primitive, yet they moved faster than the Council's best vessels. "Perhaps we could examine your engine core," Webb suggested, trying to sound casual. "Sorry," Roberts replied with an easy smile. "Safety regulations. You understand." Behind them, a massive view screen showed various human ships zipping between planets. A small passenger transport had just made the Mars to Earth run in 20 minutes, a journey that would take a Council ship nearly 2 days. Webb's assistant, another evaluator named Green, was reviewing the technical documents Earth had provided. "Sir," she called out, her crystalline form glittering under the shipyard's lights. "These specifications can't be right. They show no quantum technology, no dimensional shifting, not even basic space folding." Roberts shrugged. "Like I said, we keep things simple." The evaluation continued throughout the day. Webb and his team visited 3 more shipyards, 2 research facilities, and a pilot training center. Everywhere they went, they saw the same thing. Humans building apparently basic ships that somehow broke every known law of physics. During their lunch break, Webb sent an encrypted message to the Council. "Initial assessment inconclusive. Human technology appears deliberately understated. Recommend classification as developing civilization while we investigate further." The response came quickly. "Classification approved. Continue observation. Determine source of speed advantage." That afternoon, Webb watched a demonstration of a human military vessel. The small ship, not much bigger than a Council scout craft, accelerated from standstill to speeds that made his instruments malfunction. "Impressive," he admitted to Admiral Porter, who had joined the observation. "But surely you understand our confusion. Every other civilization we've encountered needed centuries to develop quantum drive technology. Yet you achieve greater speeds with basic fusion." Porter's face remained neutral. "Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution, Dr. Webb. We humans learned that lesson early on." As Webb prepared to board his shuttle back to the Council ship that evening, he noticed something odd. The human workers were carefully cleaning up every scrap of material from their work areas, leaving nothing behind, not even dust. "Very thorough," he commented to Roberts. "We like to keep things tidy," Roberts replied. "Cleanliness is next to godliness, as the old saying goes." Back on the Council ship, Webb reviewed his findings. The humans were hiding something. That much was obvious. But what? How had they achieved such incredible speeds without any of the standard technologies? He wrote in his final report, "Earth presents an unusual case. While their visible technology appears basic, their achievements in propulsion surpass current Council capabilities. Recommend classification as developing civilization to allow for closer study." What Webb didn't write was his personal theory. The humans weren't showing their real technology at all. What he'd seen was a carefully constructed facade, designed to make their visitors underestimate them. As his ship slowly made its way back to Council space, Webb watched Earth's vessels dart past them like lightning bolts against the dark. He had a feeling the Council was about to learn a valuable lesson about judging by appearances. The humans had put on quite a show, but the real performance was yet to come. The emergency call from the Galactic Council came 3 months after Earth's classification as a developing civilization. 2 powerful Council races, the Blue Stars and the Mountain Kings, were on the brink of war over a disputed mining system. Captain Lisa Thompson sat in the command chair of the HSS Swift, reading the Council's request. They wanted Earth to send neutral observers to monitor the situation. The Council had chosen Earth specifically because they thought a young race would have no hidden agenda. "They expect us to take 2 weeks to reach the conflict zone," Thompson said to her bridge crew, trying not to laugh. "Should we show them how humans handle peacekeeping?" Her first officer, Mike Wilson, grinned. "They did ask for our help, Captain. It would be rude to keep them waiting." The Swift was Earth's newest peacekeeping vessel. From the outside, it looked plain, just a simple gray hull with basic thrusters. The Council races had dismissed it as quaint when they saw the design plans. "Navigation," Thompson called out. "Plot a course to the Rigel mining belt. Let's give our Council friends a proper demonstration of Earth's response time." The Council's representative, watching from Earth's orbital station, nearly fell out of his chair when the Swift vanished from his sensors. The human ship had gone from standstill to speeds his instruments couldn't even track. "Impossible," he shouted. "They can't. That's not. Where did they go?" Admiral Porter, standing beside him, simply smiled. "They're on their way to help. Isn't that what you wanted?" In the disputed system, 2 massive fleets faced each other across space. The Blue Star's crystal ships glowed with weapon charges, while the Mountain King's rocky vessels looked like floating asteroids ready for war. Both sides had positioned their fastest ships as forward scouts. These rapid vessels would take at least 3 days to retreat if fighting broke out. The Swift dropped out of speed right between the 2 fleets. The sudden appearance of a human ship where no ship could possibly have reached yet sent shockwaves through both forces. "This is Captain Thompson of the Earth vessel Swift," she broadcast to both fleets. "We're here as neutral observers. Any aggressive actions will be reported directly to the Council." The response was chaos. Both fleet commanders demanded to know how a human ship had arrived so quickly. Their own reinforcements were still weeks away from arriving. Thompson kept her voice professional. "We received your distress call and responded appropriately. Earth takes its peacekeeping duties seriously." Over the next hour, 5 more human ships appeared at different points around the system. Each arrival caused fresh confusion among the Council races. The ships moved so fast, they seemed to teleport from place to place. "Captain," Wilson reported, checking the sensors. "Both fleets are powering down weapons. I think we scared them." Thompson nodded. The sight of human ships appearing and disappearing at will had done more to keep the peace than any amount of diplomatic talk. Both sides were too busy trying to figure out how Earth ships moved so quickly to think about fighting each other. A message arrived from Earth Command. "Good work, Swift. Operation Tortoise, and Hare entering Phase 3. Keep them guessing." The Council races had no choice but to begin peace talks. Neither side wanted to risk combat with unknown human vessels watching their every move. Ships that could cross the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. As Thompson watched the 2 fleets slowly back away from each other, she thought about humanity's long-held secret. The Council races built their ships bigger and flashier every year, adding more complex systems and drives. But humans had discovered something far simpler centuries ago. "Sometimes," she said to her crew, "the best technology is the one nobody else thinks to look for." The Swift continued its patrol of the system, moving with impossible speed between checkpoints. Every Council ship that saw it reported the same thing. The humans were hiding something big, and sooner or later, they'd find out what it was. The Council's emergency meeting hall was in chaos. On the massive display screen, dozens of dots representing human ships blinked in and out across the galaxy map. Each dot appeared and disappeared so fast that the Council's best tracking systems could barely register them. "They're everywhere at once," shouted the Blue Star's representative, his crystalline form flashing with agitation. "How is this possible?" The Mountain King's leader pounded his stone fist on the table. "Their ships must be using some form of teleportation. No engine can move that fast." Captain Thompson stood quietly at the back of the hall, watching the Council races argue. The Swift had brought her here in minutes, while most of the other representatives had taken weeks to arrive. That fact alone had caused enough uproar. Dr. Webb, the technology evaluator who had first studied Earth's ships, stepped forward. "We've been blind," he announced, his tentacles waving in excitement. "The humans never showed us their real technology. What we saw in their shipyards was just a magic show." Thompson finished for him, finally speaking up. "While you were looking for complex quantum drives and gravity wells, we let you see exactly what you expected to see. Simple fusion engines." The hall fell silent. Every alien eye turned to Thompson. "The truth is," she continued, "humanity discovered something different centuries ago. Something so simple that every advanced race overlooked it because they were too busy making things complicated." On the display screen, the Swift appeared near a distant star system, then vanished, only to reappear seconds later at the other end of the galaxy. The Council's sensors couldn't even track its path. "Impossible," shouted someone. "That distance would take months to cover." Thompson smiled. "Only if you follow the rules everyone thinks can't be broken." The Council's head administrator, an ancient being of pure energy, floated forward. "You've been protecting our worlds, haven't you? Not just during the mining dispute. Our sensors have detected human ships near every major crisis in the past month, appearing just long enough to prevent disasters." "Earth takes its responsibility seriously," Thompson replied. "Even if some council members think we're just a developing civilization." More dots appeared on the screen, human ships moving across the galaxy faster than thought. The council races watched in stunned silence as Earth's fleet demonstrated what real speed looked like. "Your classification was a trick," Webb said, finally understanding. "You wanted us to underestimate you." Thompson nodded. "The best way to test how we'd be received was to let you think you were the advanced ones. Your reactions told us everything we needed to know." The Blue Star's representative moved forward, his crystal body glowing with curiosity. "But how? How do your ships move so fast?" "That's still our secret," Thompson said firmly. "But I'll tell you this. Sometimes the answer isn't in adding more technology. Sometimes it's in stripping everything away until you find the simple truth hiding underneath." The council members began talking all at once. Some demanded Earth's secrets. Others wanted to form immediate alliances. A few even suggested Earth should be given a seat on the High Council itself. Through it all, Thompson stood quietly, remembering humanity's first discovery of their unique method of space travel. The moment when human scientists realized that the complex drives other races used actually slowed ships down, and that true speed came from something far simpler. "Captain," her communicator chirped, "the Swift is ready when you are." Thompson looked at the arguing council members one last time. "If you'll excuse me," she said, "duty calls. There's a supernova about to threaten a colony 6,000 light-years from here. We should reach it in about, 20 minutes." She walked out of the hall, leaving the council races staring at their displays in wonder. Humanity's secret was still safe, but their reputation was about to change forever. The age of slow ships was over. The galaxy was about to learn just how fast humanity could move. The attack came without warning. Across the galaxy, ships of an unknown race appeared near council worlds. They were massive black vessels shaped like arrowheads, with weapons that could tear apart planetary defenses in minutes. In the council's emergency command center, reports of destruction poured in from every sector. The attackers, who called themselves the Void Hunters, had targeted 20 systems simultaneously. "Our fastest ships are 3 weeks away from the nearest attack point," the head administrator announced, his energy form flickering with distress. "By then, these worlds will be lost." Admiral Porter stood before the Council's emergency session, his face calm despite the chaos around him. The humans had known something like this might happen. They had prepared for it. "Earth will assist," he said simply. "Captain Thompson." Thompson's voice came through the command center speakers. The Swift was already moving. "Ready to respond, Admiral. The entire rapid response fleet is on standby." "You have permission to engage," Porter said. Show them what human ships can really do. Across the galaxy map, blue dots representing human vessels began to appear. Unlike the slow-moving council ships, the Earth vessels materialized near the attacked worlds almost instantly. The Void Hunters had never faced anything like them. Their massive ships, designed to overwhelm slower opponents, couldn't track the human vessels. The Swift and its fellow ships moved so fast, they seemed to be in multiple places at once. "This is impossible," a Void Hunter commander transmitted before his ship was disabled. "Nothing can move that fast." Thompson's voice was cool as she reported back. 5 systems secured. The attackers are retreating, moving to intercept their withdrawal. The Council races watched in amazement as human ships chased down and disabled the Void Hunters' vessels. The black ships tried to flee, but Earth's vessels were already waiting at their exit points. "How are they predicting where we'll run?" Another Void Hunter screamed over the communications channel. "They're everywhere." Within 2 hours, 19 of the 20 attacked systems were secure. The Council's slower ships hadn't even left their docks yet, and the battle was nearly over. In the last system, the Void Hunters had gathered their remaining forces. 30 of their largest ships formed a defensive circle, their weapons charged. "You can't stop all of us," their fleet commander broadcast. "No one has this kind of speed. It's a trick." Thompson's reply came as her fleet of just 10 ships appeared around them. "Would you like to test that theory?" The Swift moved through the Void Hunters' formation so fast it left after images. Other human ships did the same, weaving patterns that confused and disoriented the attackers' targeting systems. "Last chance to surrender," Thompson offered. "We can do this all day. Can you?" The Void Hunters' response was to open fire. Their weapons, designed to hit slow-moving capital ships, couldn't touch the human vessels. Each blast met empty space as Earth's ships danced between the beams. "Have it your way," Thompson said. The Swift and its companions moved in. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 5 minutes. The human ships disabled the Void Hunters' weapons and engines with surgical precision, moving too fast to be hit. When it was over, Porter addressed the stunned Council. "The threat has been neutralized. Earth's ships will remain on patrol to prevent any further attacks." The Council races looked at their galaxy map, now showing human vessels protecting every major system. The speed of their response had changed everything. "We severely underestimated you," the head administrator admitted. "Earth's ships are not just fast. They're the most effective defensive force we've ever seen." Porter smiled slightly. "Sometimes the greatest power isn't in the size of your ships or the strength of your weapons. Sometimes it's simply in being there first." As the Council began discussing the implications of what they'd witnessed, Porter received a private message from Thompson. "Operation Tortoise and Hair complete. They finally understand what they're dealing with. The age of slow, powerful ships was over. The era of human speed had begun." The colony world of New Hope was supposed to be safe, located deep in Council space, protected by defense stations and patrol ships. Its people had never expected to face danger. But now, they watched in horror as the last surviving Void Hunter fleet darkened their skies. "Where are the Council ships?" a colonist screamed, watching massive black vessels descend through the atmosphere. "They'd promised to protect us." The Council's response fleet was still 2 days away. The Void Hunters had known this. They had chosen their target carefully, striking at a world too far for normal ships to reach in time. But they hadn't counted on Captain Thompson. The Swift dropped out of speed directly above the colony's main city, followed by 5 other human vessels. They had crossed half the galaxy in minutes, responding to the distress call faster than anyone thought possible. "This is getting repetitive," Thompson said to her crew as they positioned themselves between the colony and the attacking fleet. "Don't these Void Hunters ever learn?" The enemy commander's voice boomed across all channels. "So the fast humans have come to die. Your speed won't save you this time. We've studied your movements. We've adapted our weapons." Thompson's response was to move the Swift in a complex pattern that left after images across the sky. The other human ships did the same, creating a dazzling display of speed and precision. "Studied our movements, have you?" she replied. "Then you should know what comes next." The Void Hunters had indeed modified their weapons. Their energy beams now spread wider, their targeting systems designed to predict where human ships might appear. They had spent weeks analyzing every report of human ship movements. But they still couldn't hit what they couldn't track. The Swift accelerated from 0 to impossible speeds in an instant, moving through the Void Hunters' formation before their sensors could register its presence. The other human ships followed, each one targeting specific weaknesses in the enemy vessels. "How?" the Void Hunter commander demanded as his ship's weapons failed one by one. "We calculated every possible speed. Nothing can move like this." Thompson's voice was almost gentle. "That's your problem. You're still thinking about speed the way everyone else does. We stopped doing that centuries ago." The battle for New Hope lasted exactly 7 minutes. When it ended, the Void Hunters' mighty fleet hung powerless in orbit, their weapons and engines disabled by strikes too fast to counter. On the colony's surface, people cheered as they watched the Swift and its companions dance through space. The human ships moved with grace that seemed to defy physics itself, appearing and disappearing faster than the eye could follow. A Council diplomatic vessel arrived 2 days later, just as their original response fleet would have. They found the colony safe, the Void Hunters captured, and Captain Thompson's team calmly drinking coffee in the local cafe. "Your ships," the Council diplomat said, still struggling to understand. "The way they move. It changes everything we thought we knew about space travel." Thompson smiled. "Sometimes the simplest solution is the one nobody expects. The Void Hunters tried to match our speed by adding more power, more technology. But that's not how we do it." "Will you ever tell us how?" the diplomat asked. "Maybe someday," Thompson replied. "For now, just know that Earth's ships will be there when they're needed. After all, we're part of the Council too, even if we do things differently." As if to emphasize her point, the Swift vanished from orbit seconds later, off to patrol another sector of space. The Council diplomat watched it go, finally understanding why humanity had kept their secret for so long. It wasn't about power or superiority. It was about being ready to help, about reaching those in need faster than anyone else could. Earth's gift wasn't just speed. It was the ability to be there when it mattered most. The battle for New Hope had proven once and for all that humanity's way of moving through space wasn't just different. It was revolutionary. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's main chamber had changed. Where once the walls showed images of massive battleships and complex space stations, now they displayed the sleek forms of human vessels streaking across the stars. Admiral Porter stood before the assembled Council races, 6 months after the Void Hunters' defeat. Behind him, a hologram showed Earth's newest design, a ship even smaller than the Swift. "The future of space travel isn't about building bigger ships," Porter explained. "It's about understanding that sometimes less is more." The Council races listened intently. After the Battle of New Hope, no one doubted Earth's supremacy in space travel anymore. The real question was what humanity would do with that power. "Earth has decided to share some of our knowledge," Porter continued. "Not everything. We're not ready for that. But enough to help the Council adapt to the new reality of space travel." Dr. Webb, now head of the Council's Technology Division, stepped forward. "We've been studying the patterns of human ships for months. Your vessels don't just move fast. They move in ways that should be impossible." Porter nodded. "Because you're all trying to force space to work your way. Adding more engines, more power, more complexity. We learned to work with space instead of against it." The hologram changed to show a simple diagram. It wasn't the full secret of human speed. That would remain Earth's alone for now. But it was enough to start the Council races thinking in new directions. "By stripping away all the unnecessary technology," Porter explained, "we found something that was there all along. Something every race had overlooked in their rush to build bigger and more powerful ships. The head administrator's energy form pulsed with understanding. "That's why your ships look so simple. All this time, we thought you were hiding advanced technology behind a primitive facade. But the simplicity was the advanced technology," Porter finished. "Exactly." Across the galaxy, things were already changing. The Council's military doctrine, once based on slow but powerful ships, was being rebuilt around rapid response and precision. Earth's vessels led the way, teaching other races how to think differently about space travel. "We're establishing training centers," Porter announced. "Earth will help develop a new generation of ships, not as fast as ours, but fast enough to defend Council space effectively." The Blue Star's representative spoke up. "And what about your own ships? Will Earth maintain its speed advantage?" Porter's expression remained diplomatic. "Some secrets need to stay secret, at least for now. Earth's primary vessels will continue to serve as the galaxy's rapid response force. We've proven we can be trusted with that responsibility." He didn't mention the even faster ships Earth was developing, or the discoveries that had led humanity to their unique method of space travel. Those were secrets for another time, perhaps another century. "The age of slow ships is over," Porter concluded, "but the age of cooperation is just beginning. Earth looks forward to helping build a faster, safer galaxy for all races." As the council session ended, Porter received a message from Captain Thompson. The Swift had just completed another patrol, crossing the entire galaxy in less time than it had taken him to give his speech. "The council races are adapting well," she reported. "Even the Void Hunters have requested permission to learn our basic principles. They say they'd rather join us than face us again." Porter smiled. Humanity had kept their speed advantage hidden for centuries, waiting to see how they would be received by the galactic community. Now they were leading that community into a new era. As he watched council ships practicing new, faster maneuvers near Earth's space, Porter thought about the simple truth humanity had discovered so long ago. The secret that had changed everything. Sometimes the fastest way forward wasn't to add more power or technology. Sometimes it was to strip everything away until you found the simple truth hidden in the space between the stars. The galaxy was learning that lesson at last, and humanity would be there to guide them, moving faster than anyone had thought possible, ready to help wherever they were needed. The future had arrived, and it was moving at human speed.